Hello and welcome to another video. In this video I will be going into detail on some of the more technical aspects of the game to hopefully teach you a thing or two about how you can gain an advantage that's not just based on team composition. It's not really too much about the team or the meta at all this video. As you see, I use a few different teams. It is in the Love Cup, and I will also be pausing the video a lot more than usual, so it's a lot more slow paced. So I hope you're gonna enjoy it, just to give you more of an in-depth perspective on some of these plays. Let's go into the first game. We see Miltank mirror match. This is of course a pretty even matchup. And I just real quick want to talk about what I'm doing here. It's something I do a lot. You've probably seen it in previous videos. I've done it a lot, so I just want to explain it. The thing is, if an opponent or if one of the players is in the middle of their fast move, they cannot swap out whilst they're in their fast move animation. So if you want to make sure that the opponent can't catch a charge move, you just wait, don't tap anything, then you wait for them to begin their fast move animation, then you throw your charge move in the middle of their fast move animation to make sure it cannot get caught. Of course, don't do this if they already have a charge move, because then they might just throw the charge move and you don't get to sneak anything in between. But because he's not at a charge move, I can do this. And I do it a lot just to make sure that the opponent cannot catch the move. Not that it's too important in this matchup, but I recommend just practicing it a lot, because you're going to mess it up the first couple of times, so it's good to just practice it. You see I do it there again. And well, here I do make a bit of a misplay, because he's at the Thunderbolt. Of course we're at the same amount of energy, and I just let it go and it knocks me out. He swaps in his Medicham. It's a Psycho Cut Medicham, so it's gonna get to its charge moves quicker, meaning it's already at the Psychic, but he baits me with Dynamic Punch, because of course I'm gonna shield it, makes sense. But I decide to bait him too. I expect him to shield, and he does. And because he let Miltank, my Charizard might be quite good in the back. And this is another important detail. You saw how little HP the Medicham has. I'm just gonna wait here. See how little HP it has? A Dragon Claw is not enough. Don't be afraid to overkill. You might think, oh, I'm gonna use an entire Blast Burn taking it out. But if I only throw the Dragon Claw, it's not gonna take it out and it's gonna get to another move. So I have to overkill it with the Blast Burn. Don't be afraid to do that. I see a lot of people afraid of doing that. And of course, keep track of the opponent's energy. It was at 0 before, so I can throw 4 wing attacks before it gets to a move. He brings in a Galarian Slowbro. I bait again, and he calls it, and I can't get to my Blast Burn, so I go for another Dragon Claw. He no-shields again, and at this point it's, yeah, I'm not gonna get up a Psychic anyways, so might as well go for the Power-Up Punch. Shields it. Or I was gonna get to the Psychic, but he was just gonna shield it anyway, so I might as well go for the Power Punch to ramp up my attack as quick as possible. I get to another one, it doesn't quite KO, and he gets to another move. Does it KO? It does. I bring in Charizard, and we simultaneously knock each other out and get a tie. Next game, we lead into a Medicham. Of course, bad lead, get out immediately. He swaps out immediately too, into a Charizard. Yikes. And I bait. And it looks like I bait way too much. I do bait a lot in these first couple of battles. I know I don't bait all the time. But yeah, I do get it off this time. And I also shield the Blast Burn. And at this point I know I'm gonna get to a Psychic before he gets to his next Blast Burn, because I baited. And I bait again, and he shields it again. It's a little bit disgusting. And now I have a shield advantage, so I'm okay with going down, but he Dragon Claws me, so I can actually get to a Psychic. And at this point, I need to ask myself, is this shield worth it? How important is switch advantage as opposed to shield advantage? I know he has a Medicham in the lead, and I have Miltank and Charizard, so switch advantage is a lot more valuable than shield advantage, I think, which is why I choose to spend the shield, although I'm not going to get all that much out of my Medicham. Now I can get Charizard onto Medicham. He goes for the Psychic, I assume. Yes. And just overfarm, overfarm, overfarm. And I come out of this matchup with a Dragon Claw. But a very important detail as well. I can throw the Dragon Claw immediately, but then he will just get an entire move through as I do it. In this case, it's an Ariados. You can see up in the top right corner. There's an Ariados coming in. If I throw my Dragon Claw, he gets 2 turns worth of energy through because he gets a Poison Sting through. If I just swap out immediately, he only gets 1 turn. And because I have a Charizard, I'm gonna get off my Dragon Claw no matter what, unless it's like something else with a ridiculously high attack stat, because I win CMP against everything. So I might as well just save the Dragon Claw for later because I win CMP and only give him 1 turn of energy through. And here, instead of throwing my Body Slam, also a good detail, it takes 10 turns for him to get to his first lunge. It takes 9 turns for me to get to my first Body Slam, but because I swapped out and spent a turn there, we're both gonna get to our moves at the same time. And because he wants to get off his lunge before I get off my move, and he wins CMP, I assume he's gonna throw immediately, so I might as well take the entire rollout instead of CMP tying him. Just doing some quick math. Then I make a bit of a misplay by overfarming like this, because I could have done 1 rollout, then thrown a Body Slam, then done another rollout, and then gotten 2 Body Slams off before my next debuff, but I'm gonna have to throw 3 Body Slams anyways. Always, this is pretty simple, but some of you might not be aware, if you have a 2 turn on a 3 turn fast move, or a 3 turn on a 2 turn fast move, unless they're at a charge move, always throw 1 fast move before your charge move. Unless, of course, there at the end, it was gonna KO anyways, so yeah. Next game, we lead into a Medicham with Charizard, as you see, I switched up the team. And this is a very important detail. I bait, and you might think this is a risky bait. Why bait it? Because it's a Shadow Electrode. If I Psychic him, it will kill him. It will knock out the Electrode. And he cannot let his Shadow Electrode go down with this much energy. He has 5 Volt Twitches worth of energy, so he cannot let it go down, meaning he's very incentivized to shield. If your opponent is very incentivized to shield, you are very incentivized to bait. Baiting game is not always a 50-50. There are a lot of factors going into it. And here I can just shield once and farm it all the way down, come out with a ramped up Medicham. I farm him down, and he comes in with Medicham, and I don't bait him here. I just realize that I'm not going to get to 2 Psychics, but I am going to get to a Power Up Punch and a Psychic, so I want to throw the Power Up Punch before the Psychic to make it do more damage to Psychic. And take out a big chunk, bring in Charizard. And he led Medicham, meaning he's not going to be weak to Charizard in the back. That wouldn't make sense. So I just think Lickitung is going to be a lot better in the back, and it is, because it's an Alomomola. Always, like, if someone has a lead, almost everybody have like at least 2 semi-decent answers to whatever their lead is weak to. So if you have a good lead, your lead is probably not going to be good against whatever is in the back, unless you're using some really ridiculous spice that people are not going to see coming, that's going to core break your opponent. Next game, we lead into Lickitung. If you've seen my previous videos, you know how I like to play this. I like to try and catch the next Body Slam on my Lickitung. I don't like baiting here because Dragon Claw just does so little. And here I could throw the Dragon Claw on CMP, but it's just about not enough. So he's still gonna get off his body slam if I throw the Dragon Claw. So instead, I just choose to swap in my Lickitung to get to take the body slam on the Lickitung. It works a lot better as a sponge. The body slam is going to do a lot more damage on the Charizard than it's going to do on Lickitung. So it's a lot more valuable to throw it on, to have it on Lickitung. And here again, you see I overfarm. The thing is, this is a bit of a psychology lesson. I study psychology at university. You should realize the brain is a limited resource. The short-term memory and the attention is a limited resource. So by making the opponent have to spend more awareness on how much energy your Lickitung or your Pokemon has, they have less resources available to think about other things within the battle. So by always overfarming, you might throw the opponent off, but you're also getting the opponent to spend more resources on this specific matchup so they cannot think more about other things, which is why I always try to overfarm as much as possible. And of course, throw before the lunge, because you want to throw it before it gets more debuffed. And here I throw right before the cross poison. And I could have maybe sniped him with Charizard, but I thought I might be able to lick him down or get to a body slam, but yeah, it was pretty perfect for him to come out with a move like this. I thought he would cross poison, so I brought in Medicham. It's a better sponge again. And here another good detail. Just gonna go back here. If you notice, I bring in my Charizard soon, and our fast moves are desynced at this point. Look, see, he's throwing, I'm throwing, he's throwing. We're not throwing at the same time. So whoever is gonna throw the charge move first only gives the opponent one turn of energy when they throw their charge move. Whereas, which is why I throw first. He only gets one turn worth of energy in. Whereas when he throws his charge move now, I'm gonna sneak an entire wing attack in, which is 2 turns. So whenever you're desynced with moves of the same energy cost, always always try to be the first person to throw your energy. And also there, you saw how I undercharged the Dragon Claw on the Lickitung. I know his Lickitung is dry because it threw all of its energy on Charizard earlier, and if I take it out, he's gonna farm me down with his Charizard, get more energy. But if I undercharge the Dragon Claw, I'm gonna be able to swap in my Medicham soon because my switch time is gonna be up before his, and then I can just farm the Lickitung down and get a lot of energy on my Medicham instead. You see, we have a bit of a standoff because we both want to leave the other person in farm range to get more energy. And then he takes me out, and I get all of this nice farm. Meaning, if I can bait correctly or land the nuke correctly at this point, if I bait and he shields, I win. If I land the nuke, I win, but he shields the nuke. I gave myself a chance by making that undercharge, but yeah, end up losing anyways. Next game, lead into Ariados. Here you want to throw the body slam immediately because you want to throw it before it gets debuffed. They usually shield it, but still, just in case they don't. And he does shield it. I don't really want to throw immediately here because it would be in bad timing, and I have to throw 3 body slams anyways as soon as it's debuffed once, and it's the same when it's debuffed twice. And I'm thinking it's probably an Alomomola in the back. You can often read that if you see a lot of Ariados Alomomola cores, you might see another one. And there, I thought he was going to CMP me, so instead I just choose to take another rollout. But I throw in bad timing here because I know he's only 1 away from his next cross poison, and I want to get this off before he gets it off. And then because I realized that I'm not going to get switch, I aggro swap Charizard because it's going to see a Alomomola anyways if it's in the back. So it might as well see the Alomomola with a bit of energy advantage, which is still bad, but. And here I realize also a very cool detail. You see, I undercharge it. I realize he's going to get to a move regardless on my Medicham, and he's going to get to a Hydro Pump no matter how much I charge this Blast Burn. So instead of fully charging it, leaving the Alomomola with a little bit of HP and still able to get to a move on my Medicham, I undercharge it, leaving the Alomomola with more health. Still not enough health to be able to get to 2 charge moves. But this way, instead of getting a little bit of HP and spending my shield, because I have to spend my shield on this Hydro Pump, I think, I leave the Alomomola with a lot more health, so I can get 8 counters worth of energy in before it goes down. Brings in Lickitung, and he does me dirty here. I shouldn't have thrown immediately, it was very obvious, but this is still an incredible play. He CMP sacks me, because he knows that Ariados is going to win CMP, so he gets his move off with Ariados, and then also gets me to throw all of my energy on it. Yeah, very good play. Next game, we lead into a Alomomola. Of course, immediate save swap into Lickitung. Usually, when you save swap and they stay in to chip you, that he's going to throw a Psychic just to chip my Lickitung to make the next matchup better for the Pokemon that he swaps in. Usually you want to save the energy so you have a chance of grabbing a switch advantage because you can use the energy on whatever he swaps in. But because I have a move that's going to do so much damage to the Alomomola in the Power Whip, I think it's worth it to spend the energy here. Either I'm going to take a lot of health off the Alomomola and bring it into a range where my Charizard might be able to deal with it later, or I'm going to get a shield advantage, and I think that's worth a lot. And I get a shield advantage. And then he brings in Lickitung. I simply cannot win this. I don't have enough energy, I don't have enough health, so yeah, just throw some body slams, try and do as much damage as possible. I think he makes a bit of a misplay here because he goes for the Power Whip. I understand it because it's close to knocking me out. Maybe he would have been able to farm me down, but I aggressively swap into Medicham. And I think I saved the body slam on the Lickitung. And this is a mistake by me. I thought I could power up punch then farm him down, but I don't think that would be the case because he had a lot more energy than I was aware of. He did shield it, which is incredible, which makes it a really good play, but in hindsight I probably shouldn't have because most people are not going to shield it. And then he brings in Medicham. And I throw a Psychic. And I'm thinking my Charizard is going to see the Alomomola no matter what. This is a Power Punch, I just take it. So I want to load up to a Psychic and then swap out. I don't quite get there. And my play here is I want to leave the Alomomola in a range where I can counter it down with 1 counter, get my Psychic, and then throw the Psychic at Medicham. So I want to try and put the Alomomola into a range where it's only 1 counter away from dying. And I thought I could do that by licking it down there, but yeah, I think I make a bit of a misplay. I probably should have thrown the body slam on the Alomomola. Yeah. Next game, lead into Medicham. Good lead. Swaps in Lickitung. Usually a Lickitung swap in this meta means that they're trying to lure out Medicham. So the way I like to play it is I throw a Dragon Claw and then I bring in my Lickitung on theirs instead of throwing in Medicham. By throwing the Dragon Claw, I put it into a range where he cannot get switch advantage unless he wants to go down 2 shields or something. Throws Power Whip, which I don't really understand. I probably should have gone for double Power Whip. I think that would have been enough, but 3 body slams is also okay. This way, if it's the very common team, I just keep switch advantage, and I get my Medicham on Miltank. Because he's shielded, I think maybe a Lick plus, like the additional Licks plus Power Whip might be enough, but he goes down 2 shields, which, because he's fighting so hard to switch, it simply cannot be a Charmer or something that's really good against Medicham. because it doesn't make sense for him to want to keep, like, to get his Charmer onto Charizard. So I'm thinking 2 shields up, Medicham is just gonna sweep at this point. So I sacrifice my Charizard completely, just hard reading that it's gonna be something Medicham can handle in the back. And it is. It's an Alomomola. So I just get off my Blast Burn, do as much damage as possible. And here he goes for the pop immediately, which I think is actually a very good play. Because he just wants to do as much fast move as possible. And I know I'm just gonna, in the Medicham mirror, in the Zero Shield, you just want to go straight Psychic, because 2 Psychics is enough, plus counter. Goes for another Power Punch, and I decide to go for the CMP, because I win it most of the time, but this time I do lose it. And I kind of, even though it is a pop, I kind of have to be wary of the, like, not getting fast move down. It might be the right play to undercharge the Psychic to get energy, like, during the counters instead of the waterfalls. And here I realize I'm not going to get to a pop and a Psychic, so I go for the Psychic, hope that it's enough. Is 1 wing attack enough? Yes! But he played that really well by just realizing that he needed to go for fast move damage only. Next game, into a Druddigon. This is initially a good matchup for Charizard, but Druddigon can't 2-shield its way through it. So I just like to take both shields, and then, because I don't really have anything in the back that's super weak to Druddigon, I don't mind aggressively swapping. Like, I don't care if I get my Lickitung or Medicham onto it. So I would rather, instead of letting myself get farmed down, I choose to swap in as quick as possible after taking both shields. This way I can get to a Body Slam before its next move, instead of having it get to 2 moves on my Lickitung and bringing me into, like, the yellow. This way I keep a lot more health on my Lickitung. He brings in Alomomola, also a very good play by him, because he's realizing I have Charizard in the lead, so his Alomomola is definitely not going to be strong against whatever I have at the back, or most likely, because my team is probably going to make sense. And here you might say, oh, why don't you throw the Body Slam? But the thing is, if I throw the Body Slam, he's going to be able to just take that easily, because Alomomola is so tanky, and then he's going to be able to farm me down and come out with a lot of energy. So by threatening the Power Whip, by not throwing the Body Slam, I either get off a Power Whip to take it out, or I force him to spend all of his energy here. Meaning it's going to be a lot more comfortable for my Medicham afterwards, because it can't land anything on my Medicham. And he brings in the Slowbro, which is a bad matchup. But because I'm up a shield, I'm going to be able to win this. Medicham can take Slowbro out with 2 Sidekicks plus counters. And because the Alomomola threw immediately on my Lickitung, I know that I'm going to be able to outpace it to a Psychic. So I don't have to even think about overfarming in this matchup. Brings in Alomomola. Yeah, I realize it. That was the last battle for today. I just want to real quick say that if you have any constructive criticism about this style of video, did I pause it too much? Did I not pause it enough? Was it too analytical, not analytical enough? Feel free to let me know. Or if you think it was just really good, compliments are also very much appreciated. If you want to watch more of this style of content, I have another video right here, which I also think is very good gameplay and also entertaining at the same time. The fun fact of the day, it only takes 11 turns for Lickitung to get to the 3rd Body Slam. It takes 12 for the first 2, but I've definitely been caught out by the fact that it only takes 11 turns for the 3rd one, which I wasn't aware of before a couple of days ago. And also, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time.